Okay, Tenere vlog number 6. I got my part finally. It was on back order for a while, but this reminded me that I needed to update you on what I had going on. And the only reason I'm replacing this is because I basically did something not so smart. I rode my Tenere where I shouldn't have, and it was extreme enduro and it fell down and went boom, but not too bad. This is the only thing I damaged. I did have some scratches here, and the handguard took some little scratches, some scratches up here, but it was essentially off a cliff. So I'll get more into that and what I'm fixing right now in a few minutes. But here is where we have been with the Tenere. So I've been riding the Tenere a lot, but not a lot long. I've been using it a lot for the schools, kind of just bouncing around, playing with it more than anything, because I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with the suspension, but then I'm noticing that I'm having a little issue with the power. So I'll get to that in a second. But I also don't want to just jump right into the suspension because I'm going to add luggage. And in doing all this stuff, they're all interconnected, and I want to make sure I do it right. So I don't want to have to send the suspension back and forth. And I'm actually not too bummed out on it. It's just, I think I'm already on max spring preload. I know if I add luggage, I'm going to want more. So that's the start. And the other thing I'm noticing is that when I give it sharp bits of throttle, the kind of stuff I use to control and affect the suspension, I'm now not getting that. So I started looking at ECU tuners and ECU flashes and all this different stuff. And I reached out to a couple different people and asked them specifically, can you cure this? And everyone came back and said, oh yeah, we make more power. And I'm like, it's not what I want. I don't want more power. I want a certain kind of drivability and throttle control. It was actually something I couldn't find on my KTMs. I found it on the KTM 1190, but on the 1090, I never got it because the emissions compliancy changed. And of course, this bike is in the same category where it can't be dirty when you give it big blips of throttle. And since this has a cable throttle, it's turning the butterflies, but it has to be careful about how much fuel it throws in there. So it wants the bike to run but not stall, and then also, but it's not giving me the response, which affects the suspension, blah, 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 Jimmy, too technical. Anyways, that's the level that I'm looking to get out of this bike, and so I will figure this out. Or it won't be able to figure out. But grand scheme of things, most people never even complain or experience this. This is when I'm trying to hop the bike up onto logs. Like I said, set the suspension for bumps, you know, make the bike just like a pure dirt bike, what I'm used to riding. I want that level of performance, and I'll get it. I'll figure it out. But in doing all this, so replacing the fork guard, when I found out what this cost and the fact that it was on back order, I started thinking, I looked at what this cost and what a radiator cost and some of the other stuff, and I knew I was going to get my luggage, and I'm going to go with TourTech for one reason. I've used TourTech forever. I love the company. They make good, solid parts. These things are just strong and solid enough to add some protection if the bike tips over or if something goes wrong. It's a great grab handle for picking it up and maneuvering it. They mount in the right places. These guys think about where they mount this stuff. And I've had them on every adventure bike I've owned. For my original BMW GSs, my KTM 950 has 100,000 miles on it. It has these same, basically, Zega racks, which most of the time I'm mounting soft luggage on, believe it or not, because I'm just doing quick trips. But if I want to get my hard panniers, which I have right down here, I have the new Zega Pros that are going to go on here. It's also my seat when I go out camping. This stuff is just solid, good, trustworthy stuff that I've used for a long time. And considering how much life I've got out of it, when you look at the price, it might be a little more than some other stuff, but it's one of those things that's just plain worth it. And then, and I'm not a big crash bar kind of guy, but like I said, when I looked at the price of these plastic pieces, the price of this crash bar system, which is essentially going to go right here like this, I'll call it a tip over bar. this is going to save me some money when I do dumb things and tip over. So that's why I got these. Again, they mount in the right spots. They're going to be a good holding place for some lights. I need to get some auxiliary lights, although the headlight on this is pretty good. I mean, the one thing that I've noticed between riding this and my KTM back to back in the evenings is, man, the KTM headlight is poor. So that's a good headlight, but I'm going to get more. Anyways, yeah, super happy with the bike. I like it because it's comfortable. It's just feels like a dirt bike to me in the riding position. My big foot pegs have made a huge difference. Fast Company foot pegs, they give me extra grip. I can maneuver the bike a little bit easier. I spent a lot of time working on my handlebar setup. Super stoked with that. And I did my first service, and frankly, it was simple, especially thanks to the Acerbis skid plates, which comes off with 4 bolts, pops off. Drain plug is right there. Filter is easy access. I did the air filter, simple, just drop it in. And I did do one thing. I switched from paper filter, which was amazingly, the paper filter was very clean. And from the information I have, it doesn't really restrict the intake that much. But I went to a foam filter just to try it out and see. As if I ever go through really bad dust, I can always carry another foam filter that's all smashed up in a very small compartment. And I put it back together and ran it with the snorkel back on. And then just recently I popped the snorkel back up, and I think it gave it a little bit more kind of, you know, mid to upper performance, just kind of revving a little bit freer, but it didn't help my throttle response issue. That's going to take some fiddling with the ECU or a tuner. So that's where I'm at with my Tenere. If you have any questions, be sure to comment, reach out. Check us out on Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. We talk about all kinds of dirt bikes, anything with knobs. Oh, and I got W wheels coming. Actually, they're here. I have some really nice W wheels. I'll show you those on some of our social posts. The rear rim's a little bit more narrow. Here we go. We're going down Jimmy rabbit holes again, where I want a little bit more narrow rim. I want to run a slightly smaller tire. Just give me some more options for handling. But the problem is, rotors are hard to come by right now. So I hear they're almost off the ship. So Galfer, I'm waiting for that package, and then I'll have a really nice set of wheels. But that's my Tenere update, and hopefully we'll see you out in the trail. Cheers.